trademarks. Okay. What do you know, sir? If I may ask.
IP,
Your good name, sir.
Anand.
Yes,
Anand.
please.
IP is some output that has come from a company, for example, that involves some amount of innovative development that they have done, maybe a product or technology or something. I don't know how it is to say it.
So, it is also this term IP, intellectual property. Intellectual, something which is coming out of our creativity, our brain, right? It's a property. Now, property is nothing but asset, correct? Land, building, company, all this is what property. In those days, every company which was established, asset was a valuable thing. So every company, they wanted a land, they wanted machinery, they wanted building, everything goes in, and that was valued very high. Today, as the world has progressed more and more, we have gone into a digital landscape. In fact, with the pandemic, things have gone AY, has become more and more digitalized. And our Indian government, central government, is also promoting a lot of digital things, and we are all on digital world at the moment. So, asset here, if you look into, is no longer physical assets. It's become your intellectual assets. So that is what is called as intellectual property, right? I would say India is still way behind when compared to European Union, European countries or America or any other country if you look into on the IP angle, because they moved far ahead, right? And for all this, there is also all over the world there is something called as the WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization. You will ask me, why are you talking about WIPO here when we are sitting here? See, you should understand intellectual property rights, these assets are territorial assets. You may be small today, but you may intend to file for an IP on an international basis. So there are certain treaties which India has signed, and we are part of those treaties which gives you the flexibility one time go to file an application. I'll come to that, right? So you should understand first the nature, the background of IP has evolved, and why IP today is being pushed so much into ourselves, or why people want to have this awareness. Now, if you look into the overview of what I'm going to touch on today is IP and why it's a game changer, right? And building a future-proof for IP strategy. This is what I will be talking to you. Why? Auditing and valuing IP. This is very, very important for all of you right from now. And IP assignments and licensing, right? So if you are creating something today on the deep tech or anything, product, process, anything, everything involves a IP. And we generally always advise, even if it's a bootstrap startup or initial stage, I have an idea, I have an innovation. For you, before you even get into any discussion with anybody, you will say, fine, first, even it can be a kit and kin, it can be a relations. Fine, first sign an agreement as a have everything in place. See, discussions, ideas is where somebody steals your ideas. How many of you agree for that? Initial stage. Your idea you would have shared with somebody, but before you made it, they are stolen your idea. So why are you giving it? Even in a discussion stage, as lawyers we say, sign an NDA. It can be a good friend. He's coming. Most of startups come with friends. Funding, correct? Friends, family want to fund yours. But when you're discussing, you're thinking it's based on the IP as such. So imagine if you have building a multi-million-dollar brand or company, and you see your competitors use your name or product without consent. That's where your IP sits. So if you look into a startup angle, I have had many startups who have come to us, and they would create a good product, they would create a good process, but they wouldn't have got their IPs in place, including the logo, the name. You all will be establishing the KYC norms, ROC compliance, because without that you can't start your business in our country. But IP, mom, we will do it later. Why? Mom, first I have to establish, I need to get my money in place. I know all of us are here doing a business because we need a commercial. But you should understand your brainchild is your IP. And without IP registration or putting the process in place, it's very difficult for you to establish yourself in the market, right? How am I to differentiate between Amazon and Apple? Their services, they may be online, right? So IP, the brand, you're creating a brand right from now. You may not be immediately Swiggy. How many of us thought Swiggy, something like this, would become an IPO today? We never even thought. Right? So you should understand everything starts small, but when you're starting in your baby stage, your initial stage itself, it's important to have your IP. Under the gamut of IP, you should understand is the treasure, like you mentioned, ideas, innovations, brand power that sets your companies apart. You can't differentiate between Microsoft, IBM, till they have got their name, their brand, over the years they have built it. And it requires a lot of work from your end if you are the owner of your product or process to build branding. So branding and IP also goes hand in hand. Right? So if you look into the IP umbrella, you have patents, you will have trademarks, you will have copyright and trade secrets, and there is something called also under designs and GI. Okay? Now in patents, it is nothing but your innovations which are unique. It's a blueprint. And your tech breakthroughs. Sometimes when we develop a product or a process, we think the market mine is the best, or this is very new. For you and for your friends, you think it is new, it is innovative. But you don't know that it's already been registered by somebody else. Right? So you have to do certain searches, which I will take you on the registration course. But let's get this. Not everything can be patentable. It depends upon your area of product, process, what can be patented and not patented. Right? Trademarks. This is very, very important for any company, especially for startups. Your name, the way you create your logo, the way you create a tagline. If I say now today, simply love it, what does it mean? McDonald's. Finger licking good, we say. You don't even need to say McDonald's, right? If I just see inverted golden arch anywhere in this world, you will have McDonald's in there. So anywhere if you see or yellow color packing with red and noodles on it, you immediately think it's nine, right? So that is the power of trademarks. Why I am trying to build this example is for you to understand the power of branding and trademarks. And it doesn't come today you register, tomorrow it doesn't come. It is a continuous work over the years. Why are international brands so powerful? It is continuous work over the years they have built. Right? So that is the power of trademarks and your logo. So it is important that your brand's badge, logo, signature is always captured and you have enough registrations and safeguards done. Right? Next we look into copyright. What is copyright? See, copyright is more on a creative aspect. I don't know for how many of you on a deep tech it will be. It is more on, yeah, certain softwares can be copyrightable. Artistic, innovative works, creative works, software code for films generally fall under the category of copyright. Right? Next, if you look into is trade secrets. Now, what are trade secrets? These are like confidential information for any businesses. It can be a process, it can be certain blueprints of business, it can be certain databases which you are holding. Those are all trade secrets. I am not going to share every bit of my processing internal aspects to somebody else who's a competitor. That falls under trade secrets. And for trade secrets, we always, classic example, everybody knows is the Coca-Cola's recipe, KFC's recipe, McDonald's recipe, certain Michelin star chefs have their recipes even copyrighted, right? So the secrets, the ingredients or the process, all this falls under the gamut of trade secrets. And there is something called as Designs Act. In Designs Act also it is the blueprint of certain machineries or certain designs which you want to. It can be 2D, it can be 3D, all these falls under the Designs Act. GI, I have not put designs in GI because thinking it may not be too applicable for you. GI is nothing but geographical indication. What is geographical indication? It is coming from one particular place. For Kashmir, if it is saffron, it is GI tag. Kanjipuram, famous for what? Puttu saree, fantastic. So that has a GI tag, isn't it? Exactly. So all of you know this. That GI tag, when it is given to a product or wherever it is, it adds a commercial value higher. So this is what.
Small.
Yes.
Trade secrets you mentioned. I think like Coca-Cola, only the 2% knows that secret.
Yes.
One of them knows.
Yes.
We have to apply the document to the government.
Sir, it is a process of filing, which I will explain.
When we process the filing, we have to give that formula for in that sheet.
Yeah.
Then government also knows that.
Not the government. There is a how you need to safeguard that process. Generally, what happens is it is examination and register. இதுக்கு வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா trade secrets you have to have more safeguarded digital lockers and things like that. There's a separate thing which I will just take you on to the month of So this is the entire gamut of what IPR falls under the whole bracket, right? So I just taken an example which is generally common for everybody to relate, right? So if you look into Coca-Cola as such, the patent aspect here would fall for their bottle cap technology. They were the first in the early years. How many of you, I don't know, there is Goldspot, there was Mazda and all this. But this bottle cap design, Coca-Cola was the first to bring in where the seals cannot be opened, it was airtight. So that is patented even now, right? Then if you look into their trademarks, it's their brand name and their logo. You don't even need to see a bottle today. If you see red patch with Coca-Cola written, you know whose is it, right? That is the power of promoting it. Trade secret is the formula and the production methods which are coming in. Designer rights, the shape of this bottle even can be protected, right? For example, on an international scale, again I will tell this, there is a company called as Tiffany's. Tiffany's into this high-end jewelry and things. They have a peel color box, peel, aqua blue mirror box. In that box is this particular rectangular shape. That is being given, design rights in that. So even for your packaging, you have certain packaging rights, trademark rights which comes into your packaging aspects. Copyrights. Packaging and advertising your content for Coca-Cola. Huge millions and billions of dollars are spent on a product or on a process to create a brand. And believe me, it is not the sale of your product and the process which you're going to make your work. That's their tagline. So there is a difference. When you go extensive advertising content, it gets copyright. Processes gets copyright, right? On certain aspects. But when it is trademark, it is only this, the logo, the combination, the 2D effect, the 3D effect, you can give this in black and white, how you're doing it. For example, colors sometimes go in for even the aspects of trademarking their colors. Some people are very particular in the shades. We call them phantom codes. There are phantom codes, right? Color shade codes. Christian Louboutin, I don't know how many of you know Christian Louboutin, but this is what comes into my head quickly. Soles of the shoes of an international brand has got red, dark scarlet red. That red is protected, that color phantom code is protected. This is the power of branding and protection in India. Nobody else is allowed to use red. In apart from any of your footwear underneath, but internationally you will see that it won't have red color, that's scarlet color. It's infringement. So this is the power. You got my point. This is trademark, this combination of logos and how you write your name, how you give your creativity for your logo, right? You will see logos of hand, you will see logos of butterflies, you will see there are various combinations, right? So that is the power. Today, as Mark said, if you just give a tick, you just put a tick, what do you know? Like, how did it come there? Not in a day or two. It's created over the years to get that established. If you see an Apple today, what do you know? Apple, computers, technology. That's the power of logo. That is trademark. Right? So, I hope I answered your question. Now, if you look into India's membership in key IP treaties, this falls for the ambit of trademarking. I went into startup level, it's essential for you all to understand the trademark aspect. So these are the two treaties which India is part of. One is the Madrid Protocol. Here we do most of the international registration of the marks. There are a lot of tech companies, if you see, once they reach a certain level, they will say we would like to have an international registration because that helps us to give a deeper seepage on the global aspect. Because that's again a call taken by the strategy of the businesses, right? The heads of the business. I'm today here. I would maybe have something happening in a few years in Singapore or in US or UK. So some people start off with international registrations to save cost. As I mentioned, IP is territorial based, right? Next, if you see, is the Vienna Agreement. It is also a classification of figurative elements in the marks. See, India follows the Vienna Agreement on classification. If you look into our trademarks, as I mentioned, we have certain classification. Under what, which class or process, according to your business, there are various classifications. When we do the filing, under that classification, we will discuss and we will ask you which classification you want to file, understanding your business and we will file. So the member countries are about 130 plus countries where we have listed out a few which is important, right? So this is how India is a part of the key treaties. Now, what is the benefits of this membership which we have entered? Simplified international trademark application and management. Sitting here, you can file this anywhere in the world, right? We file a lot of trademarks for Sri Lanka. We have filed a lot of design work. If you're looking for Colombo, for Singapore, Hong Kong, it's anywhere we could do it, right? Uniform classification for easier identification of marks. It becomes easy for you. Cost-effective protection in multiple jurisdictions. You don't go over and over and keep filing in every time. Some people say, madam, one filing at this moment is very expensive, but I know in 2 years' time I'm going to have something set up in US. So maybe will it work for me to just file? Because you can't really do a global international company. It's a very, very expensive affair. So it is a call as a business people to strategize where you want to, how you want to plan out your business, which is going to be beneficial, right? Then enhance global brand visibility and protection. Obviously, when you're going on a global market, Cognizant, anybody from Infosys, HCL, you see their global presence. How did they come there? It's again the strong branding which they created here and then how they are able to compete there. Today there are a lot of Indian companies who are on a global platform. Can any one of you name some famous companies on a global platform which you can relate to on this aspect? Anything, any company. I'm not saying just of tech.
Amazing.
Amazon is US based. Anything? Yeah. It's huge. Yes. So these are Indian companies which was created and they've gone global. How did they go global is because of the over the years of branding, the positioning, the registration, protecting, more than registration, I would say protecting your asset and going and fighting for it rather than taking one step back and sitting and saying, why now? I shouldn't do it. I want to tell you that because interestingly, Amazon, there was a recent case where in Amazon there were two home bakers and they had a particular name of whatever the baking name they had. These were two ladies who were running home baking. And they found that their similar name logo was also infringed by Amazon when they had a window. These two ladies thought we are going to move. What are we to do? How are we to, protect ourselves? They were Bangalore based, home entrepreneurs. They filed for the case. They said, I have the right. This me who has registered. How can they infringe? They filed. It did take some time, but they won. Why I'm saying this is the power of IP is so much that if you stand, you have the papers protected, and if you are a watchdog for yourself, it's not that your duty is to run your business. But to become a watchdog or to protect your brand is the duty of an IP professional. Right? So that's where IP comes in. So they won against Amazon. Amazon paid damages for it. So that's the power of why IP, right? Now,
Timeline
patent
and trademark
ஏதாவது டைம்லைன் இருக்கா?
Timeline na நீங்க if you starting your logo is நீங்க கம்பெனி ரெஜிஸ்டர் பண்ணிருக்கீங்க, ஒரு லோகோ போட்டுருக்கீங்க, அது நீங்க இன்னும் ஃபைல் பண்ணலன்னா இனிஷியலாவே நீங்க KYC நார்ம்ஸ் போட்டுட்டு உங்களுக்கு இன்கார்பரேஷன் எல்லாம் பண்ணிடுறீங்க இல்லையா, அப்போ உங்களுக்கு லோகோ இருக்கு, ஒரு டேக் லைன் இருக்கு, எல்லாமே இருக்கு இல்லையா, அந்த டைமே நீங்க வந்து ஃபைல் பண்ணிடுங்க. ஏன்னா உங்க ஸ்டார்ட் அப்ஸ்க்கு வந்து there are a lot of concessions which are given because the government is also promoting a lot of startups to fight for their rights, right? So if you look into registration and filing aspects, first if you look into is the patent filing process, right? I'm so sorry, there is some kind of mess on that. So if you look into patent filing process, first we have to do a prior art search. Around you have to see whether your innovation or your product is unique. That is very, very important. You and me will think whatever you and me created is unique, but there are millions of people who have already done dozens of it. So you have to make a search. We call it as prior art search. So that will give you an insight, saying before I go and jump into registration, you will have an idea whether there is something similar in the market or not there. If somebody has already filed something to you, your idea is not innovative. For patent, innovation, it should be new, novel. Then you do, right? So first step is prior art search. Next, if you look into the drafting the patent. If you look into lot of universities have incubation centers, lot of professors also do, PhD holders do filing of their patents, startups and all do that. Problem comes here. How do I draft? See, for everybody it is cost cutting and budgeting, right? So we think we just go to a patent agent. Not every patent agent is qualified in every business or patent application which they have to draft. There are patent agent or patent attorney has to be an expert in that particular field. If you're doing tech, they should know something about tech related software. If you're doing biotech, patent person should know have an idea of science and biology. Blanketly, I'm a patent agent, I will do every filing possible. Yes, you can do. But if you don't have a deep understanding of your business, what you're doing, this will go wrong. It will be rejected. So it's important, the drafting of the patent application is very, very important. How you draft your statements, your drawings, how it is going to be captured. So there is a more technical background required when you go into this, right? So this is very, very important.
And this, suppose we go to a generic person who is say drafting, filing for something, is the risk that suppose now I'm trying to file a case against a guy who's copying, it's easier to find loopholes or something like. What's the risk going to a generic person in drafting?
He may not be the right person. It's like you go to a physician to examine yourself totally. But you know very well you have a heart problem. What is the point when you're a physician? You just go to a cardiologist who's an expert on it, right?
Yeah.
So same way for your business, you need to also filter out which patent agent is going to be, or at least go to an IP attorney who's going to help you out to guide you towards the right
To the
patent.
right person.
Because they have a bouquet of patent agents with them. And they know to whom to put you on. So that the claims become correct.
So the claims have to be
Yeah,
worded.
it has to be written very well.
Oh.
The statement. See, that is the heart and core of your product. Unless I understand your product and your process.
Yes.
See, I am not a science student.
Yeah.
I will not be able to guide you to the nitty-gritty of your biosciences, your formulas, how it has to be written, how it has to become descriptive, right? How many of us even come up and know that? We say we all want jobs, so we say, yeah, I'm a patent agent, I'll do. Not too far. It is again a problem for you because it is time. So we always say go to the right patent agent whom you know has done a previous work. See, it requires a lot of due diligence from your end, whom to approach also. It's not cost cutting. We have a lot of services like this where they say IP is filed, trademark 200 rupees, this 500 rupees. We say Mavaketa Pariyaram. Correct. Going to Taj or Oberoi and eating in Sarvanapavan, there is a load of difference. So people don't just put things, you should understand that's the amount of service you get. It's a template based service. You may not have deeper discussions. You may not have futuristic policies. So please understand that.
One more question.
இப்போ இப்போ சார் வந்து ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட் வந்து இது பண்ணிக்கிறாங்க வச்சு ஃபைல் பண்ணிக்கிறாங்க வச்சு இப்போ அதை கிளைண்ட் ஒரு 2 or 3 கிளைண்ட் பண்ணுறாங்க. ஸோ அதில் ஏதாவது கேப் ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ணி நான் பண்ணலாம்.
கேப் ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ணனா இப்போ நீங்க பண்ண முடியாது. அவருக்கு பேட்டன்ட் வந்துட்டு வெளியில வரப்ப தான் அவருக்கு it has to get approved. See, நீங்க கிரியேட் பண்ண பேட்டன்ட்ல சில பேர் உங்களோடத வந்து எடுத்து அதுல இருந்து டெவலப் பண்ணலாம். அதுக்கு அவரோட ரைட்ஸ் வேணும். நீங்க அது இன்ஃப்ரிஞ்ச்மென்ட். You can't go ahead after he has got his patent. You can't just take it out. You have to ask his consent. That I come to you in the last.
This right is only within India. If I go for Indian case, not for the other countries.
Patent agents will draft. நீங்க சொன்னது வருஷம்னா patent agent is able to draft an entire patent. நான் முன்னாடி இது பண்ண வரைக்கும் என்னன்னா we have to make an entire draft by using background or part that there
So you have to give the
and
background.
agent is only you have an authorization to file and to reply for their FER or those kind of things.
Correct. But you have to give your description and they will also have to state correctly. நீங்களே என்ன வேலை பண்ணா பேட்டன்ட் வெறும் ஃபைலிங் வேலை நான் நானே பண்ணுவேன்.
இல்ல இவ்வளவு எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சது அதுதான் நான் தான் கேக்குறேன்.
நீங்க எக்ஸ்பர்ட் அதுதான் எக்ஸ்பர்ட் பேட்டன்ட் அவங்க இதுல ப்ரீவியஸா இதுல அவங்க பேட்டன்ட் ஃபைல் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. சார் பேட்டன்ட் ஏஜென்ட் போயிட்டு எக்ஸாமினேஷன் வரப்போ ஒரு ஆப்போசிஷன் வரப்போ அவங்களுக்கு வந்து அந்த உட்கார்ந்து அப்போஸ் பண்ண தெரியும் சொல்ல தெரியும் ப்ராடக்ட் உங்க ப்ராடக்ட் பத்தி அவங்க ஒப்போசிஷன்ஸ் வரும் இல்லையா ஏதாவது queries அந்த எரர் எனக்கு எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணுறது எனக்கு இந்த தொழில்ல எனக்கு ப்ரீவியஸ் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் அது இல்லைன்னா நான் எப்படி உங்களுக்கு எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணுவேன் அங்க எக்ஸாமினேஷன் வரப்போ
அது எங்களால் டிஃபர் பண்ண முடியாது. இப்போ அது வந்து எங்களால் டிஃபர் பண்ண முடியாதுன்னு சொல்லியிருக்கோம்.
என்ன பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் unless you can defend your own provided you know very well to defend yourself, but can you defend with the authority or the kind of knowledge as a patent attorney, as a qualified lawyer? See, when I go and speak to an examination officer, I know how to deal with him. I know with what authority I can speak to him. When you speak, you are speaking from a layman's perspective, you get nervous. Are we all equipped to handle that? And I don't think it's any of our business for business entrepreneurs to go and attend hearings. That's not your job. Your job is to concentrate on your business, build your business and go to the next level, right? So, Tamil சொல்லுவாங்க சரக்குறாங்க சரக்கணும் அதுதான் I would like to say. We have options, trade agents, நீங்க trademark agents கொடுக்கலாம், patent agents கொடுக்கலாம், இல்லைன்னே கிடையாது. பட் அது கொடுக்கறதுக்கு முன்னால அதை குவாலிஃபைட் இதுக்கு முன்னால பண்ணியிருக்காங்களா என்னென்ன உங்களோட ரிலேட்டட் பிசினஸ்ல பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. See, that is requires you to நீங்க செக் பண்ணணும். இல்லைன்னா திருப்பி பேக் அண்ட் ஃபோர்த் யூ வில் கோ மண்டகாஞ்சிரும். என்னமா அந்த மேடம் சொல்லிட்டு போனாங்க இந்த ஃபைல் ஆயிரணும் இங்க வந்து பார்த்தா 100 தடவை அப்போசிஷன் 100 தடவை எரர் 100 தடவை கரெக்ஷன் வெப்சைட் சர்வர் டவுன் எல்லாம் இட்ஸ் பார்ட் அண்ட் பார்சல் ஆஃப் ரியாலிட்டிங்க.
Madam, availability you need to say that we have patent attorneys with different backgrounds and they are familiar. We have options.
Of course, you
There
have
are different backgrounds. For example, one from food industry and another from chip industry.
Yes.
So you need to say that patent attorneys are there, specialized in India.
Of course, you have people who see